today, the U.S. is going to be opening its first rare earth mine in more than 70 years. Kelly Saberi is there in Ranchester, Wyoming. Beautiful place. Kelly, what are we going to get out of this mine?
Hi, David. Yeah, this is a critical moment for the U.S. We are going to get 6 of these 17 rare earth elements that are used in everything from warplanes to semiconductors and powerful magnets and even things that go into our cell phones. Now, this is revolutionary for not just us, but our allies, as we'll be able to break our dependence on China to acquire these rare earth minerals. Now, what I want to tell you about is China not only provides 70% of the U.S. supply, but also mines 70% of the world's rare earth minerals. China has basically cut off the rest of the world now from acquiring 7 of these elements since April in retaliation for President Trump's tariffs. So this will be a game changer, and they've only studied a third of the land here. Take a listen to this.
The United States uses about 10,000 tons a year of rare earth. We've got 1.7 million. So just on the math, that's north of 150 years worth of supply just at this mine. So this mine will basically be America's answer to China.
Okay, so terbium and scandium are 2 of the most important elements here. And I bring this up because they're used in, again, powerful magnets and semiconductors that go in a lot of our products that we use on a day-to-day. And these are even more vital to our independence from China, as China has an even greater dominance with those 2 elements than the rest of them. Now I have Energy Secretary Wright here with me to talk about this pivotal moment in history. Thank you for being with us. What is the feeling today as the ribbon cutting approaches?
This is America answering the call. We've become too dependent on just simply critical minerals from countries overseas, most of all China. We have these materials here in the United States. We made it hard to permit mines. We made it hard to have industry in our country. And guess what? It left. Under President Trump's leadership, we're bringing it back to the United States, bringing it back right here in Wyoming, where we have two critical things together. Coal, the biggest source of electricity on the planet, and rare earth elements critical to our national security and our economic security. Thrilled to be here on this momentous day.
Can you explain to people at home who might not know what exactly rare earths go into, what a big deal this is for their everyday and also for our national security, as you mentioned?
So when you make a device and you want to miniaturize it, think of when you were kids 30, 40 years ago. Magnets were kind of big and clumsy. If you use these rare earth elements, dysprosium, neodymium, they've got great names, they allow magnets to be much more powerful, much smaller, much lighter, and still operate at very high temperatures. So we have them in fighter aircraft, we have them in your phones, there's tons of them in your cars. They've just become critical elements. They're small, they're not the major part of any of these devices, but they're critical to their functioning.
Thank you for being with us, Secretary Wright. David, we will send it back to you.
Okay, and actually, I'd like to ask a couple of questions, if I can, to the Energy Secretary.
Of course.
One of them is about the workforce. Is he having any difficulty, or are the companies having any difficulty hiring? How sophisticated is the mining process, and do you pay well? I'm just curious what the pay scale is for the actual miners in this process.
Yeah, David, great question. Look, we are in the midst of the Powder River Basin. 40% of United States coal production comes from this region. So there is a skilled and historical mining workforce here. People also travel for jobs like this. And to your last point, yeah, these are very well-paying wages that support rural Americans in a high-class lifestyle. Yeah, I think it's tremendous for the community of Wyoming as well.
And I'd like to ask about the folks who are worried about climate change. Polls are out, though, showing that people seem to be more worried about being able to turn on their lights at night or to heat their place in the winter or cool their place in the summer. But are there any regulations, major regulations, that are becoming stumbling blocks to getting more of these rare minerals?
Oh, absolutely. During the Biden administration, they did everything possible to strangle the coal industry, and they did. We closed a lot of coal power plants, I think, at the expense of our electricity grid. And where we are right now, we're going to produce these rare earth elements in a coal mine. So could this have happened under the Biden administration? Likely not. It's critical that it does happen. Biden administration was simply naive about how the world works. You know, he ran on a premise that he promised he would end fossil fuels. Well, the year before he was elected, fossil fuels in the United States were 82% of our energy, and his last year in office, they were 82% of our energy. Turns out it's not so easy to end fossil fuels, and here it's not just the coal that's our third largest source of electricity in the U.S., largest globally, but among that coal, we're going to get that rare earth elements and get economic freedom and economic security, pulling that back from China and back here in our own country.
So we only have about 20 seconds, but the bottom line is these rare minerals are not quite as rare as we had been told, right?
Yes, rare is a misnomer. They're actually just very low concentration. You've got to find them in places. They're still very low concentration, a lot of processing, chemistry, and some work has to be done to process them. We're going to stand that up in this country as well.
Mr. Secretary, thank you so much. And Kelly Saberi, great stuff. Really appreciate your reporting. Thank you both.
Thanks, David.
Absolutely.